Welcome to the Chris Fischer Show. I'm your host, Jason Zaleski, talking to Marshfield Tigers boys basketball coach Chris Fischer. Coach, a successful 2-0 week last week. This after almost a 2-week layoff. Let's just start with that. Or a 1-week layoff? Well, I guess it was about 2, wasn't it? How do you grade your guys after being off for about 12 days?
I thought we played pretty well both games. The fear is after a long layoff is maybe some conditioning aspects of it, as well as offensively, your movement, your timing, and your spacing. But I thought, for the most part, all those things were very good. We jumped out on Wausau West. Actually, both games we had great starts, quick starts against Wausau West and Merrill. It was good to see that. And anytime you can get 2 conference wins within a week, that's something that you need to enjoy, because you never know when something could come up and bite you. And we played well for both games.
Yeah, the first of those games after the big layoff was at Wausau West. That on Thursday night, second half opened up a 30-point lead. You said got the big start. What was clicking right away at West on Thursday night?
Defensively, for the most part, we got out in transition early. We got some steals at the top of the key area. Specifically, Brooks Hinson jumped a couple of passing lanes and got out in transition and finished with breakaway layups. And anytime you can do that, it gives your whole team confidence that the ball can go through the basket. So the next time they catch the ball and they've got room and rhythm to let a jump shot fly, they've got the confidence because they've seen a teammate put the ball in the net. So that got us going early, and then we continued to do that throughout most of the game.
I mentioned that the 30-point lead, that's somewhere around the 8-9 minute mark. And then, we're going to give these starters a break because we got another game tomorrow. We're going to bring some guys that, one, deserve some playing time because they work hard. 2, some of these guys are, next year's or, tomorrow's starters. And there's some sportsmanship in it there too. Mm-hmm. And Coach, I just got to ask you, little by little that scoreboard got closer and closer. Did that take some days, some weeks off your life?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
it did, because you want all of your players to have some success when you put them in. You don't just want to put your guys in just to say you got them in. You try to pick your spots, and you want them to have some success because you want them to gain confidence. You want them to improve their skill so you can help out your own team as well within the course of your practices. And we didn't prepare very well for what they did later on in that game when they started to run and jump us a little bit. And, we just got loose with the ball a couple times. And we did have some moments of really good play too, where we made an extra pass and got a back cut for a layup and made an extra pass, get an open jump shot. So there were good moments there. It got a little closer than maybe we would have liked, because no matter who we put on the floor, if they're wearing a Marshfield Tiger jersey, the expectation doesn't change. So a lot of things to work on with that second group that we had in there, but overall it was a good night for us.
Sometimes after things like that, you'd like to have a practice the next day, but instead you go to game day at home. Just coaching style, when do you get around to helping those guys out? As I said, some of those guys are next year's players for you.
Yeah. So we try to keep the competition level high at practice, but in reference to a back-to-back situation, we had to be a little bit creative. We actually talked Merrill scouting report in the locker room after the game on Thursday night. So we didn't have a lot of time to enjoy that win Thursday because we had to get focused on Merrill right off the bat. So we talked scouting report Thursday night. Got them back into the gym Friday morning for a little walk through and shoot around. Got our guys ready to go, and once again they responded. Got off to a nice start against Merrill on Friday, and took it from there.
Yeah, I would say a big win. Scoreboard wise, a commanding victory against a conference opponent. Now back to back, those are tough to come by. And by the time all scores were reported on Friday night, there you are. You and your guys are the first place team in the Wisconsin Valley Conference. Now, though, the bullseye's on your back, perhaps.
Sure. It's we always try to maintain our focus on what we're doing. but it's natural to do some scoreboard watching once you've taken care of your business. And we were aware of what all of our conference teams are doing, because anytime your conference is playing non-conference games, you want them to do well and you want them to have success. On nights where there's a full conference schedule, you just kind of keep an eye on it and put thoughts in the back of your mind and watch highlights and dissect some game film, and you see scores and you see what other teams are doing to each other to maybe find something that you had never thought of before. So when all's said and done, you really need to maintain your focus. Whatever happens, it shouldn't change your preparation and how you're preparing your team. So after Friday night's game, we had the weekend to digest that. And then we brought our guys in yesterday afternoon to start preparing for Chippewa Falls. But, we're where we want to be. We got ourselves in good position, and we have to maintain our focus on what we're doing.
As I said, Coach, not only back-to-back wins, but back-to-back conference wins. Those are hard to come by. What was the preparation for Merrill? What kind of challenges did they pose that was a little bit different than Wausau West?
Well, they set Merrill, that is, they set a high number of ball screens right at half court. And then when they get into their half court offense, it is a constant dribble weave action, drive and kick. And every now and then they'll drive and they'll stop with a ball screen. So we had to have our guys prepped for their ball screening action. We always talk about it. I don't want to say it's easy, but it's on the easier side of things when you're involved in the ball screen action. The important thing is, where do you have your other three guys positioned defensively? Are you jumping to the ball? Are you in the proper rotation spot? So we had to make sure that our ball screen coverage against Merrill was sound, and I think for the most part it was.
And then after that game on Friday night, minus the reschedule for Stevens Point, you made one lap through the conference. What are your impressions about how your guys have been able to attack that and accomplish some half-season goals?
Yeah, we're off to a good start in the conference. One thing that we've got to prepare ourselves for is that through the first 5 games of our conference schedule, 4 of them have been at home. And we've got a stretch coming up here, after our Chippewa Falls game on Tuesday night. We've got 6 games in a row on the road. So for the most part, we've maintained our home court advantage. We've held serve at home, but we're going to have some great challenges ahead of ourselves because the majority of our conference games are remaining schedule. We're going to have to get on a bus and we're going to have to travel.
As Coach said, a home game against Chippewa Tuesday, then on the road to DC Everest on Friday. We'll talk about those two right after this. Wondering what to feed your team after work, the game, or this weekend? Chips Hamburgers in Marshfield and Wisconsin Rapids has tasty char-broiled burgers for any hungry appetite. From the classic hamburger to the famous Chips Champ and everything in between, check out our daily specials. Stop inside to enjoy your meal with comfortable seating. See our complete menu of burgers, hot ham and cheese, hot beef, chicken and fish, fries, rings, curds, and ice cream served year-round. In a hurry? Same great menu in the drive-thru. Chips Hamburgers in Marshfield and Wisconsin Rapids.
It's simple, but true. Time is money. At Sherrill Tire and Service, we have over 20 mobile service trucks to get you rolling and growing again. Sherrill Tire and Service Centers, your locally owned farm tire dealer.
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, how can I help you?
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken has been voted best pizza in Marshfield 15 years in a row. Scotty's Pizza and Chicken is ready for your call now at 715-384-8118. Choose Drunken Chicken, BLT, Western, Mac and Cheese, Sweet Chili Chicken, and more. Plus, Scotty's has roasted chicken, fish, sandwiches, salads, and desserts. Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, 715-384-8118 and scottyspizza.com.
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, how can I help you?
As today's Chris Fischer Show continues, Marshfield Tigers boys basketball coach Chris Fischer, I know I've known you for a while, and I've known a lot of your predecessors and just coaches in general. Chippewa comes in on Tuesday. The record doesn't look like something, but I think you're going to tell me next why they're a team that you need to be concerned with.
They shoot a high volume of three-point shots. They're averaging not quite 30 three-point attempts per game. They've played a couple of teams in our conference already in Wausau West and Everest and Spash. They have the ability to knock down threes in a high volume at a high rate. And anytime you play a team that can do that, that poses a big threat, because if you let them get hot and feel comfortable from the perimeter, all of a sudden they're knocking down 13, 14, 15 3-point shots. Anytime you have a team that shoots that many threes, you also leave yourself open to a lot of offensive rebounds, because long shots mean long rebounds. So if you're letting them get second and third opportunities, you could be in for a long night. They've got a couple, 2 or 3 guys that average double figures. We've got to make sure that they're held in check. So plus they're a sectional opponent. And anytime you get to match yourself up with a sectional team, you want to do well for potential, maybe it means a home game later on in the playoffs. So we got to make sure our full attention is on Chippewa.
Chippewa's come in with a record of 1-11 on the year. You're on the other end of that with just the 1 loss. You've got 3 guys that average just about 45 points a game. You talked about last week's big or hot starts with your 2 games last week. Is when you play against a team that doesn't have the record that maybe indicates that they're going somewhere this year, is it just a matter of, if we just get off to a hot start, we can put them out right away?
Well, I'd like to think so, but I always think back to that one of our first games of the year against Holman, where we did get off to that hot start at 21-0. And I think Holman had a couple possessions in the second half to take the lead on us. So that was a good learning lesson, that the hot start's not enough. You've got to play a full 36 minutes. One of the mottos that we've developed recently is anytime you take the court, you never know what could happen. And every game of basketball is independent from anything else that happened, because you just never know. You could try to play the comparison game and finding common opponents between each other, but when it comes down to it, you just got to keep playing. Play in the moment, live in the moment. Every time you take the court, you don't know what could happen. So try to maintain your focus for a full 36 minutes.
After Tuesday's non-conference game against Chippewa, you have 2 non-conference games left. Those both come in a few weeks against both Eau Claire schools, both on the road, as it turns out. But the rest of them are conference games, and your first place team in the conference right now, conference championship, I'm sure is on your list of things that you want to accomplish. And you get back into conference play Friday at DC Everest. What's the message to the guys about, we want to go after this goal of winning a conference championship, and it's got to start now?
Yep. That certainly is one of our goals every year. And, really all you can do, again, Jason, you love this answer from me, is take it one game at a time. We all know what could happen on the road. The last couple times we played Everest on the road, they've been 1-possession games. They've got a couple of really good, talented players, Preby, Studeman. I remember the first time we played them this year at home, we had a tough time guarding them individually. Studeman got real deep in the paint on us with his attacks. Edwards got to where he wanted to with his attacks. After that game, we kind of had to adjust how we did things defensively. So Everest is going to pose a really big challenge for us. At Everest has always been historically a difficult place for us to play. So, I think just going on the road and being taking a bus to where we need to go, it just changes some things. We got to have the proper mindset going into these games with the majority of them being on the road.
I'm not sure if NFL coach Bill Belichick conducts a coach speak class, but if he does, you certainly attend it. There's no doubt about that. You mentioned DC Everest. I was going to bring this up, and I'm glad that you did. DC Everest being historically a tough place to play, maybe for all comers, but certainly those that wear orange and black. How do you and the guys overcome that kind of and get that out of your mind?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there really is a way to do that. I don't know. For me, it's been close to 25 years now where we've had to travel to DC Everest, and for a lot of our guys, it's just maybe a couple of years. So they're probably not completely aware of the entire history. It started for me at the football level. The classic DC Everest Marshfield football games back in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, early 2000s and 2010s, and anytime you had a DC Everest Marshfield football game, chances are it was for a conference championship. And, the playoff games, chances are maybe one of those teams are going to go to state there. So that kind of built the foundation of the Everest rivalry for me. But now that it's turned over to basketball, if you look just recently, between us and Everest, we've won a few conference championships in the last 5 to 8 years now. So anytime you have to go on the road to play DC Everest, no matter what sport it is, the biggest part of the rivalry is the fact that DC Everest is really good. They're good in football, they're good in baseball, they're good in basketball. That's the part of it. Overcoming DC Everest means you've got to beat a really good team and beating a good team on the road. So it's another challenge that we're going to take and hopefully have some success.
Talk to Coach next about how his guys impress off the court as our Chris Fischer Show continues right after this.
Culligan Water delivers. From your first call to your first sip to your first soak. Culligan, give us a tap. The only water that comes with a van.
After a couple years of a job that doesn't fit, it's time for more money, more opportunity. That is where Mid-State Technical College comes in. Would cooking be a good fit? Try on a career in welding. Perhaps the outdoors suits you better. Or maybe helping people is a better fit. No matter your path, we've got cutting-edge classes with field-trained professionals and better tuition options, making Mid-State the perfect fit.
As we wrap up our Chris Fischer Show today, Coach, I see your guys out in the community. They're supporting teams at the other high school in town. They support teams, whether it be the girls' basketball team or swimming or what have you, the other teams inside of the school. What does that say about their character, that they're willing to spend their off time still supporting other student athletes in the area?
We have a few standards within our program that we try to hold our players accountable to, hold our athletes accountable to. And we also want them to make sure that they enjoy the high school experience, because at some point they're not going to have it anymore. And for a lot of our guys, this is the end of their athletic careers. We'll hopefully have a couple that go on to the next level and continue to play. And maybe some guys will take up an adult rec league, but at some point this experience for them is going to be over, and we want to make sure that they maximize it. We encourage our guys to go to all of our home athletic events, no matter what the sport is, no matter what the team is. We are all Tigers, and we know that winning breeds winning, and success in other programs can just uplift the entire spirit of the building, the entire spirit of the community. We want our guys to be high-level achievers in everything they do, including their academics. And we had a really good first semester in that regard. And we want our guys to continue to be proud to wear the Marshfield black and orange, and continue to support everybody.
Coach, home game on Tuesday, on the road on Friday. We will see you in the gym twice this week. Best of luck.
Thanks, Jason. Roll Tigers.
From humble beginnings in 1904, the Wheatrick family has grown Grassland Dairy Products into one of the largest processors of butter in the nation. Based in Greenwood, Wisconsin, the family and its hundreds of employees continue their pursuit of providing high-quality products that can proudly be served in restaurants and homes across America.